Good morning, everybody. It is Real Estate Talk TGIF episode 282. That is 279 weeks in a row. We're really happy to be here with a really special guest. Every week we have special guests, and today is no exception. Ed Kaminsky, who's one of the top, they named to the top 50, one of the top 50 teams in the United States by Wall Street Journal, founder of Sports Star Relocation, and just an overall great guy. Great leader. Ed, thanks so much for coming on today.
Hey, excited to be here, Dave. Thanks for having me on. 279 episodes in a row. That's amazing consistency. That itself is a very powerful thing to pay attention to. I think consistency in anything can be powerful. I'm just amazed how you pulled that off.
Well, you know what? I tell everybody this story is really quick. I mean, I decided to do this when I saw someone doing a really bad job. And I said, Fridays at 11, I can show up every week. I've shown up every week for 279 weeks in a row. And you know what? I got to keep going. And there's some days where it's, I got other things going on. Like I got a lot of things going on today, but I'm rocking and rolling and just have been so excited about doing this. But before we get started, Nelson, let's go to the videotape. Real estate agents, are you looking to acquire clients consistently to grow your business and income for a great lifestyle? Well, this is Dave Finale, and I'm here to bring you the Real Estate Skill Builder broadcast, Real Estate Talk TGIF, brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and the Modern Agent team. Good morning, everybody. As you know, this is Real Estate Talk TGIF episode 282, and we have none other than Ed Kaminsky, who is president of the Kaminsky Real Estate Group out in Southern California. And it seems I have a lot of California people on, but you know what? California people are cool, just like New Jersey people, So as I start the broadcast, Ed, I have one question I ask everybody in every episode I've ever done. And the question is, it's Real Estate Talk TGIF. What does TGIF stand for?
I think it's Friday, I believe.
That is really close, Ed, but I'm sorry to tell you, I hate to tell you this, but you are incorrect. The answer is, thank God, it's finale. So, I mean, it's just really pretty simple.
Finale. There you go.
Yeah, I've got to take advantage of that. So this way people might remember. But anyway, hey, man, thanks so much for coming on. You come with me having observed you for a long time in a group we call the Fast Forward movement and stuff. And it's been really great with the answers that you give to the issues that are brought up every week. And your knowledge, your experience are second to none. So as far as that experience goes, if you would just tell us a little bit about your journey and how you went from, what you did before to, being the president of your group and how you've been able to grow your company.
Sure. I graduated high school. That was the beginning of my journey, right? I started in business at 18. I skipped college and went right to work, and I went into the jewelry business. And I was in that retail sales business for a period of, 5 or 6 years, and discovered real estate. I wanted more in life. I always knew I did. And I used to watch late night TV shows about Tom Vu, and he would drive around in a fancy boat with a bunch of women, and he was rich. I was like, how do you do that? Right. So it was real estate. So I went and took a real estate course, got a real estate license, and I kept getting job offers in the mail. I'm like, I haven't even applied for a job and they want me to work there. I was honored. Yeah. And so I interviewed a bunch of places, and then I realized they're all asking me for money to join them. And I was like, this doesn't sound what I thought it would be, but eventually I joined, and I did this kind of cross between my retail business and real estate. And I started some habits very early in my career. I found a Mike Ferry real estate tape in a drawer at the real estate office. I listened to it, and he said, you had a prospect to make money. And I didn't realize that when I started, because in the jewelry business, you show up to the store, right. Customers show up and you sell them stuff. So when I show up to the real estate office, I sat at the front door for hours waiting for people to come in, and no one came in. So I realized, I got to go make it happen. So I would prospect 3 hours in the morning when I worked the afternoon shift from 1 to 9 in jewelry. So I'd knock doors from 9 to 12, take lunch, go sell some jewelry. Then in the shifts I had from 9 to 5 in jewelry, I would take a dinner break and I would cold call from 6 to 9 p.m. And so I did that for a period of time until I could figure out how to sell a house. Once I sold my first house, I switched and I went all in. I knew I could survive for 3 months after that closing, and that's all I needed. I needed a 3-month runway in my mind,
right,
to start. And then I kept that habit going every single day. And I was contacting a minimum of 50 people a day most of my career. And I made that my consistent requirement of myself. Just follow my schedule and make my calls. And then all I wanted to do was learn how to sell 50 homes a year because I heard that was a big deal. But I started in the low end, Dave. People know me as being in the luxury side and representing athletes in the high end. But I had to build my confidence,
right,
to build my luxury career. So I went in and just sold inexpensive homes, $150,000 homes, figured out how to sell 50 of them. And then I made some quantum leaps after that point through some decisions I was making along that way. And now we sell. I had a couple years in a row, we did 300 million in sales, and now I'm shifting to building a really dynamic, larger team, and we're on that movement right now.
Yeah, and we're talking about your team a little bit. I mean, what I try to do is learn. If I don't know the person I'm having on the broadcast, I try to learn a little bit about them. And what I've learned about you over the past week or so is you have what I can consider in our business, since I've been in it as long as you have, a leadership skill that is really second to none. And your leadership skill is you're involved with the agents. You actually, you talk to them, you ask them questions. It's what I always called managed by walking around. That's kind of what I called it. And I learned that from not Mike Ferry, but Mike Barry. He was a coach years and years ago in the Century 21 system mostly. And it's just a matter of, helping the agent when they're there. What can you do to help them? And that's what I always said. Talk to me about how that had made a difference in your business.
So when I shifted to solo agent to building a team, that was decades ago. I always had like one agent with me, and I would hand them my buyers mostly. But my first hire was a non-real estate agent. So I did have to teach them real estate ropes. So I was forced to coach from day one, but I also have been a part of coaching myself. I've always hired coaches to coach me, whether it's in real estate, in health, in physical working out, in golf. I have coaches around me all day long, and still to this day. And so I'm a sponge, and I take the philosophy of life that I just don't know the best way to do anything. And because of that belief, I really want to be taught things, and I really pay attention. Right. Kind of like the group we're in with Fast Forward Movement, right? I suck in that information, every week.
Yeah.
And because of that, my brain assumes that everybody else is like me, and they want to learn and they need it. So I coach and I teach, and it's just become what I'm passionate about.
Yeah, it's fun, really. I mean, you've been forced to coach from day one, you said, which is really important, because this is where you wanted to build your team. And the one thing you also said is you have coaches around you, not only in real estate, but in other things. I mean, for me, with golf, I took lessons. For stupid story, I took lessons at the beginning of the year, and it kind of ruined me for a month until I got other coach to teach me what I was doing wrong. But you have to be open to it, and that's the thing. A lot of people, Ed, say that, well, I've already seen this guy, I already talked to this guy, I don't need another coach. The consistency in coaching is really important. I have found in my career and everything I've done. Is there always have you ever stopped coaching and missed it, or how important is the coaching and for you to have it and to be it?
So I've never fully stopped coaching, but I've missed a week, right? I'll miss a week and not get go through a coaching session, and I use it for a couple different things, right? It's not so much what they're teaching you that you don't know sometimes. It's just about holding yourself accountable what you promised you were going to do. So if I'm talking to my coach and say, hey, I'm going to implement this plan or this system or this process or go do this, and then I don't do it and I have to answer to somebody, I find it's very easy to hide from yourself, right? You can make up excuses in your own head when you don't do something if you only have to answer to yourself. So having a coach, I have someone to answer to, or at least tell the truth to.
Right.
And then having a team around you now, I've got to show them what is the right path to go. And if I'm not doing what I'm expecting them to do, how are they going to believe in it? How are they going to follow it? So I still set examples today of being the first one in the office, right? I'm the last one to leave.
Right.
I'm picking up the phone and prospecting every day. So I think it's a matter of using it to be held accountable personally. And when you reverse it, showing people the way, the path.
Yeah, exactly. And being surrounded by, you can call it the right people and stuff. We mentioned the fast forward movement. There's a collaborative effect that you and I have been exposed to that I think is second to none. Being able to work with people on a weekly basis that are all over North America, let's say, and being able to do that. How has the collaboration of our group helped your business? Now, everybody needs to know that the reason I asked that question is because Ed is probably doing a little bit better than a lot of people that will watch this broadcast. And the reason I say that is the answer that I'm pretty sure I'm going to get. So talk to me about how important that is to you.
Well, as I stated before, in my mindset, and I skipped college, I always felt, I must be behind everybody else. Everyone must be way more educated than I am. And so I've kind of over, I don't know what the word is, but like I read every day. I'm on Audible every day. And so I'm trying to learn everything I possibly can because I felt like I missed something. And so when I originally came to EXP, there was a lot of reasons I didn't want to go, and there was reasons why I did want to go. The one thing I didn't expect was the collaboration that I'm getting, because everyone's opening their book, exactly how they do their processes and systems. And so when I saw that, that's why I jump on these calls and I'm here with you, Dave. I think there's so much out there that can shortcut the process to what I want to do. If I'm speaking for myself personally, I know that there's people out there doing way more business than I'm doing. And every time I see that, all I can see is if they can do it, I certainly can do it. So what am I doing wrong that I got to fix? Or what are they doing that I can add into my business and just my mindset? So I live believing that I have not yet met my potential and I'm going to figure it out.
So, you know what I love about that is the stuff that we're always looking at, the stuff that we're always going to. We go to these masterminds every week, and what I've learned is that it's not that I know it all. It's that I've heard some of it before, but I also know that I need to keep hearing it because it's a reinforcing. And just like anything else, like I ask people, you've already seen this guy and you don't want to see him again. And I asked them, have you ever seen a movie more than once? And they'll say, of course I have.
Yeah.
And the next question is, I'll use Star Wars as an example, right? When you watch Star Wars for the 10th, 12th, 15th, me over 100 times probably or more, I always see something different. And it's the same thing about seeing something different and maybe that little nuance. I mean, I watched a video this morning earlier of a training session with Brian Danny, and I saw it already. And when I watched it a second time, I said, I missed that. How did I miss that? So the important part is working with people that are going to give you a different perspective or give you different methodologies that might sound just like what you're doing, but there's going to be a little tweak that's different. And mindset you mentioned as well. it's got to be really tough. It is tough for a lot of agents today because of where the market has shifted. This is being broadcasted on November 3rd, 2023, in midst of a, let's call it a crazy market, for lack of a better word. Where should people's mindset be, and why is mindset so important for today's business?
It's a hard market, right? I've been through a lot of different markets, some that have appeared really bad to the world, like the 2008 crash and prices were crashing. This one's odd, right? Because we're not seeing this mad crash in prices, but affordability is being washed away with high interest rates. And we have a massive drop in volume of business that's crushing the transactional people, like real estate agents and lenders and title companies and escrow companies. And they're getting crushed, and people are feeling that. So what I've done in all of these markets, including this one, is I try to ignore the noise because the noise can bring you down.
Yes.
And to Carl's point, don't use the word try. I ignore them on the screen here.
Yeah.
Ignore the noise. I don't try. I just ignore the noise. But I do tap in to make sure I'm understanding what is going on so I can pivot where I need to. And I think the one thing that has been crystal clear is an increase in the amount of conversations you need to have right now to do the same thing you did before. That's in your control. So what is in your control? What is out of your control? The market's out of your control. You're not, unless you're getting into government and you're going to go change policy, it's out of your control. So what's in my control is who I talk to, what I say to them, and how many times I do this during the day. I stay extremely focused on that. I stay focused on that with coaching my agents and saying, are you getting the results that you want based on the activities that you are doing? You have two choices at that point. Either increase your activities to get more results, or reduce your goal so you're not beating yourself up, or give up, right? It's just three choices. Helping people understand it's in their control. It's their choice. You make the decision. You either need to increase your activities, reduce your goals, or get out of the business.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a matter of what you allow and what you allow in and what you want to get out of what you're doing, right? So the focus is really important. And look, it's pretty simple. I ask agents every day, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? You go through the why questions and stuff to see exactly where they're at and what they want and how they want to do it, to see if they can focus on what they truly want and why they're doing it. As time goes on, focus can be difficult, especially in a market that's shifting, in a market that we don't really know where it's going to go. I mean, you and I have been around long enough to know where it's going to go. We just don't know when, right? What are some things that you've been able to do to stay on top in the market that we're in today and in other markets when you've gone through them?
So in this market, I've been focused on for me, I'm focused on the long-term plan and staying in that focus. So the long-term plan for me is to build we'll call it a scalable team. I mean, people are using this term a lot, but that's what I'm working on. Right. And to build a scalable team, you have to build processes, standard operating procedures, systems, and figure out how to pour into the real estate agents on that team so they're getting skilled up, their mindsets are straight, they're having some fun, they're motivated. I can't make them get motivated, but I think Carl back in the screen earlier says, it's hard to motivate someone that doesn't want to be motivated, right? And I saw someone else said you can't uplift the downtrodden. So we are looking for those people that want to grow, that want to succeed, and really pouring into those people. And if they're not following, they're not growing with us, they either leave or they're asked to leave the team. And so just sticking to the systems and the processes that we know that can create business. And I know when this faucet turns the other direction, the numbers are going to be phenomenal. So stick to learning what to say, how to say it, how often, and stay into that focus.
How do you think working retail prior to getting into the real estate business helped you grow to where you are today, as far as being an agent than being a businessman?
You know, it sort of messed with my mindset a little bit, which could be good for business, maybe not good for all. So, but because I was in retail first, I believe the workday ended at 9:30 because our store closed at 9, and then we had to count all the jewelry, put it in a safe, and we were clean the counters, and then we'd go home at 9:30. So when the 6 o'clock hour hits at the office and everyone's leaving, I still today look around and go, where the hell's everyone going? We got 3 more hours of workday left. Right. So I believe it's okay to have conversations at 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night with our clients and whatever it is I need to do. So that extra hour or 2 or 3 a day that I put in 5 days a week, 4 or 5 extra days a week, add up to months of extra time that I put into my business per year. Right. I get extra months over everybody else. So everyone wants to know why I do so much business. Most of the time, I just outwork everybody. It's not that I'm that much smarter, that much better, that much more skilled. I mean, I have strengths in those areas. I just outwork everyone.
Yeah, and that's really important. I mean, as far as what I learned as time went on was that, you know, my first job, we started at 9 o'clock, but the other job I had, which was coincident with that, was that, you know, 8 o'clock was the time. And then as I started building, I realized that, you know, my current contractors are getting there at 7:30. So, geez, I better get there at 7. And then as time went on, now it's, you know, 4:15 a.m. I'm ready to rock and roll, which a lot of people say you're out of your mind, but I think it's really important. Is early a good thing? Is a ritual one of the things that you've used? Not a ritual. By that I mean, you know, a certain schedule of things you do before you go to work.
Yeah, no, I'm very ritualized, right? So my morning schedule was the one I stuck with the best, and it's like you, Dave. I get up early, so right now I get up about 5:30. I used to get up at 4:45 for a 5 o'clock gym start. It's more like 5:30 now. So I get my gym routine in, and then, you know, I'm ready to go like fully by 7 a.m. Right? I'm working. My mind's freshest in the morning, so I'm working on maybe scripting or email crafting, you know, long-term plans for communication, marketing, you know, writing, you know, I'm writing, right? I'm writing ideas and thoughts and business planning and everything else fresh in the morning. 8 o'clock's my real start, where I'm communicating with clients. I'm on the phone, call my past clients, my hot leads, my sphere of influence. And I do that till 10:30. I used to do 3 hours. I do 2.5 now. So 8 to 10:30 is my morning shift, where I'm just calling all the people that I need to call. And then I'm meeting with the team at 10:30. And that's probably about an hour for different parts of the team. And 1 o'clock's my first listing appointment. And so I'm stuck with that shift almost my whole career.
So I want everybody to look at that as Ed is the president of his own company, and he is still making calls. He's still staying in touch with people. He's still doing listing appointments. He's still doing all that. What do you like? What do you enjoy the most? What do you enjoy the most of what you just went through? I mean, what's the most fun for you?
Signatures. I just want a signature. I don't care if it's a mobile home or an oceanfront, you know, castle. I just love the signatures. Can't get enough of them. It's just seeing a contract signed, buyer listing, seller deal. I don't know, it lights me up.
So Ed, you said mobile homes or beachfront home. I mean, but you're known as luxury. Talk to me about, where your mindset is as far as that.
I don't think I've sold I think I sold a mobile home in 1990 or something. But we're a Zillow Flex team, so we get these every time a mobile home comes up on Zillow. We tend to get all these calls, and the agents are like complaining about them. And I said, you know what? I'm not afraid of selling a mobile home. I don't care. So right now we have a contest in the office. Whoever sells a mobile home first wins, and I'm in the game. So I'm fighting with a couple of agents, and like, I'm going to beat you to it. No, I'm going to beat you. So we just make it a game, and we're helping somebody. It's a family can't afford to buy a house. They can afford $150,000 mobile home. I'm happy. We'll call it pro bono work, right? I mean, at some point in your career, you're giving back. So this might be giving back, but I'm either giving back to the owner or buyer of the mobile home, or I'm just teaching the agents, hey, just go learn how to do transactions. They all want to go sell their $8 million house, but listen, learn to do transactions. That's what I'm trying to teach them. Learn to do 1 a month, 2 a month, 3 a month, and then you can set your own pace in the business. Agents, I think, focus too much on the commission and how much they need to make instead of the process. You got to focus on the process. So it doesn't matter what you're selling, just learn to do it often. And you can if you can get consistent at transactions, you can level up your business to anywhere you want to go.
We talk about a lot of times, focus on, the relationship building with the client, whether it's a buyer or a seller, and don't think about the money. Now, oddly enough, you've got people, not oddly enough, but you've got agents that need to make money. And I look at different agents that I've worked with in the past, even in the past 6 months, where, they need to get that deal. They need to get that signature. They need to get that money. And they're just panicking and they're saying, oh, damn, what am I going to do? Maybe this isn't for me. How would you handle that? And how would you approach that, Ed?
So first of all, I think there's a lot of truth to people that are living in the pain of not having money right now, and they need the sale. And so that emotion of needing the money, needing the commission is overpowering the importance of what they need to do to focus on the client. And good morning, Bo. My dog just woke up. Sorry. Go down. So I feel their pain, right? I'm around agents all the time that are struggling and having difficulty getting transactions, but I continue to pour into them the process and what to say, how to say it. We have a standard operating procedure in our office when you meet a buyer for the first time. And that first meeting, it's not a thought I like teaching. I don't love it, but I think it's right. Instead of going and assuming they're going to buy the home, that the first home you ever show them, assume they're not. Because I love teaching, hey, think positive, think it's going to happen, and it will happen. So it's sort of the opposite, but it feels to be the right thing right now. Yeah. Because 98% of the time they're not buying that house, and you need to get them to the second appointment. And so pour into the client and by everything is about them, not you. It's not how great you are and how hard you're going to work and the great company you're with, or I'm with Ed, and none of that. It's right. What are you looking for? Why is that important to you? Tell me about your family. Where do you work? How do you like that job? Is that a great job? Are you going to stay there for a long time? Pour into them, discover them, and then you have the opportunity to get to the second appointment, and you've increased your chance of having a new client tenfold if you do that, instead of just trying to sell the house on the first showing.
Yeah, I mean, look, we both talk about agents that need the money, that need to get it, and they just have to. I think you have to slow down a little bit. and understand that, this business is all about being the long game. And yes, you will hit quickly on some of them, but it's going to be very hard to not focus on that, but you have to really do it. And that's all about mindset. And at the beginning, we talked about something that's really cool for me. And, I'm a sports nut. I'm a big sports fan. And you're a founder of Sports Star Relocation. You work with professional athletes. How did you get started in that?
Well, many, many years ago, I represented a athlete in town, and I thought it was kind of cool. And so, I started building a business relationship with this player, got to meet his wife, and then started showing up at events that they would be at. And then they'd introduced me to others. And I got another player. And I thought at that moment, when I got the second one, that I made a statement to myself: I represent all athletes in Los Angeles, period. That's it. They're all mine. And, and I actually believed it. And then the players started coming to LA, and they weren't working with me. And I thought, well, they must have screwed up, because they're all mine. And so this was this kind of competitive nature in me. And then I realized, well, shoot, I need to find a way to get to them. So I said, why don't I get to know every single real estate agent in the country that also works with athletes and get to know them. So when a trade happens, I can call that agent and ask them to refer them to me before they get to anybody else. So that was the plan. And that was kind of the birth of it. So I just went on a mission and searching for athlete or agents across the country that also work with athletes and build this network and this fence. But again, it was very us driven. And so I had to pivot again and say, you know what, we need to make it about the consumer, the customer, right? What do they need? What are their pain points? What issues are they having? And let's solve those issues. And so those issues were the stress and the hassle of making this move, getting all their personal belongings moved, getting their car to the new practice facility as quick as possible, things like that, a concierge level of service around these moves, right, to help them. And when we made that switch, that's where it really started to grow. And it was more about them. And so everything I build right now is I go back to customer pain points and focus on what is that and how do we solve it.
Yeah, and what you just said was like just an example of really how we should really work and build a business. And you said pain points, right? So pain points they could be anything from, as you said before, you really built a concierge service for the athletes, and anything that they needed, you would make sure they had, such as getting their car moved, getting their car where it needed to be, doing all these different things for the move. It's the same thing that every agent, and I think every successful agent will do, is understand what they need to get done, and you get it done. A lot of people talk about, well, I have this concierge services, well, if you really do, are you really doing all this? And it's a full out process to help anybody with their home buying needs and selling needs. And today's market is like, there's so many things going on that, it's hard not to think of, I got to get this deal, and forget about the client. And that's really, really important. So you started growing your business, and you've based it on different business models. Starting your business, starting your team, what do you think was the most important thing when you brought in agents? What did they have to know, and what did you have to know?
So it depends what kind of team you're building, right? So, depending on who's out listing, right? You're either just starting and you're adding one person.
Right.
And that first person is all about taking a job and responsibility that's eating your time that could be spent somewhere way more valuable. For example, if you have, 6 buyers you're working with, and it's eating up your entire week because you're out there all day long with them, and you can't go out and get listings or manage your business, that's the first place to put it, right? Right. As you build and grow, then it's about how good are you at creating one of two things: lead generation systems that are flowing into the company that these agents can work on. And that's one way of building a team. Or you're building lead generating experts, right? I ask this question all the time when an agent starts out. What do you think your job is as a real estate agent? And the answers flow. They're, customer service and, help people. And I try to teach this from day one. Your job as a real estate agent is one thing. It's find somebody who wants to buy or sell a home and convince them to use you. That's it. That's your real job. And the sooner they realize that, the better chance they have of actually succeeding in the business. And so you're either teaching them that and how to do it properly, or you're having them do things that are eating your time that maybe you should, allow others to do.
One of the things you said the other day when we were talking about when you're building the team, and one of the things that I learned as time went on is that I always thought my name was Got a Minute, right? Because people wouldn't come in and say, "Hey, Dave," they'd say, "Hey, got a minute?" And I was always, one of the things that I was always coached was that you got to get rid of the got a minutes and set things up. But you have made comment to me that you actually like the got a minutes, and it makes you it just makes you better. So you said that you got to talk about that.
This was a 2023 shift, right? I think as a team leader, everyone that you watch and learn from, a lot of them are trying to build based on not wanting to have to do anything anymore, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with the got a minutes, and I don't want to work with my buyers or sellers, and I don't want to listen to conversations and coach them. Let's get a coach to do that. Let's get someone to do that, right? And they're building all this so they don't have to do anything. And the reality is, great team leaders have some really terrific skills. And the minute you start doing things that stop you from using the skills that are special to you,
right,
you're stopping your business from growing. So pouring back into where you're skillful, which might be these got a minutes, where you know exactly what to do and how to coach someone to go do it. It may be the most powerful thing that I can do for my team. As much as I'd like to just throw away the got a minutes and give it to somebody else, the reality is I'm probably the best at it. So maybe I need to pour into that.
Yeah, and I think that's really important what you said. I mean, because I always thought about that, and it's like, it's not. Hey, I think the thing that bothered me most was they would never say, "Hey, Dave, how you doing?" It was always, "Got a minute?" Because I had this, because where my office was, they had to walk up a couple of stairs to get to the door, and they run up and stop and say, "Got a minute?" And it was like, sure. And you never want to say no, or you want to say, come in 1 minute, but I think that's really important is that's what you're really good at. And that's what you love to do. I think one of the things that we find as leaders is that we're coached in a way where, okay, you have to get rid of the low per hour things and delegate those things. And I would say yes, but with the condition that if you love doing some of those things, I think you should still do them. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we are all coached to get rid of the low per hour productivity things. And I think there's plenty of those in there. And then it's also about scheduling it, right? So
yes,
I've got to try to do a better job at scheduling the got a minutes. Okay, got a minutes for this particular hour. All right, you have one, come during that hour. So controlling your time is part of it.
Right.
But sometimes it's just looking a little bit deeper. Is it really low productivity per hour work, or is it really important, right? So for example, writing ad copy, you can delegate to a copywriter and hire someone, a VA, to do it for $8 an hour. But is it good enough, right?
Right.
My copywriting might be worth tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in revenue if I do it really well. Right. So I think we look at it sometimes incorrectly. And so that's a little bit of the shift I'm making this year and pouring back into the things that I thought were low dollar per hour work, but maybe it's not.
One of the things that, I've learned a couple of things. You talk about a 23 shift, right? So there's 2 shifts that I've looked at. Is one thing is that a lot of times we forget what got us to where we are today and what made us money, what also gave us joy, right? And we say, okay, well, we can't do this anymore. We've got to do this. And we get too damn serious sometimes, right? So, just talking about this and saying, okay, well, I really enjoy doing this, or I really enjoy doing that. As a leader, as a company owner, as the person that's you're leading, there's an opportunity today, and there always is an opportunity, depending on how we look at it, for us to grow and to get better. The Gotta Minutes, I think, are an opportunity for us to allow us. They give us that extra allowance to coach, to help people move along on a certain path that they want to go, or correct their path, so to speak, to go where they want to go, where you need to move them for your own organization. Does that make sense to you? What do you think about that?
No, it does. I think anytime you're either uplifting somebody, educating them, motivating them, it's improving their opportunity, improving their path that they're on, or fixing the path they're on. And that's all towards long-term growth of the team, right? So if we're talking team members, it's helping that team grow. If it's people outside of your team, they say, what do they say? Rise all tides, lift all ships, raise all tides, or whatever that saying goes.
I get it.
I think you know what it means, but
I do. Yeah.
Uplifting anybody around you. Like a lot of the people I'm helping and coaching right now aren't in my organization, right? They're not in my, they're not on my team, but somehow right now this feels right. So anywhere I can pour into them, I'm just doing that.
Right. It's we run into, just to talk about a different type of agent. You have the agent that really wants to do this, and they show up every day, but it seems that there's always things that they're doing that always are getting in the way. Is there a way, or is there a process that can actually convince someone to do? That's okay. Is there a manner or a way to actually teach someone, or to push someone what it takes to get done? Like if they want to get, so I try to talk to agents, to new agents especially, and say, okay, so that one transaction is the most important thing, right? How would you enlighten them to what it takes to get that one transaction, to get started, to get rolling, to build that momentum?
We focus. Yeah. Sorry about the.
That's okay.
Yeah. So we focus on the process, right? So there's a process of getting to your one transaction you're trying to get. That process is doing lead generating activities and improving your skills in how you communicate with people, whether it's educating the clients about what's going on in a transaction, or it's just building rapport with them, or gaining trust from them. These are all skills they need to learn. And so we focus on lead generating, skill building, and stay in that focus and check in every single week exactly where they stand with those efforts. And so we meet the beginning of each week. They have to come in with 3 things, 3 different sheets that track all this information. If they show up to the meeting with those 3 things, we continue. If they don't have it filled out, we ask them to leave the meeting, and we turn off their leads. So we have very, very strong accountability about what we do in our office. And this keeps them focused on the process, right? Yes. So I just feel if you're focused on the process, the chance of getting to a transaction is greatly improved.
I want to compliment you on that process, simply because it's the transition that I see that really needs to happen in our business, especially with everything that's going on, whether it's the market or stupid lawsuits and all this other crap. The important part is, I believe that there's brokerage models out there that are all about the numbers. right? And it's not about the people. It's not about, a business. It's about bringing in people and get as many as you can, onesies and twosies of deals. What you've done, and correct me if I'm wrong, what you've done is you've decided that this process is more important than anything else for them to make money, for the whole company just to excel. And the only way is to have the principles, the standards that you're moving through, and the three things they got to do. I will tell you in the past that I have failed in what you're succeeding at. And I always look to grow and to make those changes. And sometimes, it's just got to be, well, you know what, see you next week. Or when you start doing these things, we'll talk to you. And, I think it's fantastic that your organization is making sure that people are doing what they should be doing. And you don't have the need to say, okay, well, if you're not going to do the work, don't come in. They're just not going to be there. Is that right?
Yeah, they find themselves leaving. We're asking them to hold themselves accountable, right? We don't make anybody do anything. They choose what they say they're going to do. And then we just check and see if they've done it. And, go back to those three questions we said earlier. Is everything you're doing going to meet the goals that you've set?
Exactly.
If not, are you going to increase those activities? Or are you going to reduce your goals? Or do you want to give up?
Exactly. I mean, but that's the thing. Well, I don't want to give up. What do I do? And then they don't do it. So I've been there, done that. So as I said earlier, I try to do as much research on anyone I don't know coming on the broadcast. And I've seen different videos of you. As you can see, some of the questions probably came from those videos. But one of the things you did was you did something that you talked about in one video I saw. You did the reverse alphabet. And that day you were talking about fast, right? And one of the things that intrigued me about what you had to say in that video was try to do everything a little bit faster than you're doing it. And will it work for you? Could you talk about that? Because I really loved the method and the method that you talked about. And it just made, no procrastination, because if you're doing something fast, you got to keep going. Could you talk about that? Because that was really cool.
Well, first of all, I don't remember the video, but I remember the concept. I record a lot of stuff. So I'll wake up and I'm thinking about something. And it may have been after seeing Kenny fast.
It was.
But I too often when I see slow around me, it drives me nuts, right? So, agent will get a counter offer and, it's 5 o'clock and they're like, okay, well, I'm going to work on this tomorrow. What do you mean tomorrow? I don't understand this. You got the counter offer now. Pick up the phone. Pick up the phone right now. Well, I texted and needed a reply. Pick up the phone and see if they'll answer the phone. Email them.
I'm with you.
Text them again. Hey, this is important. So I believe that time kills deals. If you're waiting for tomorrow to get a signature and then another realtor comes in and gets the listing, right? It's happened to me too often. So to me, I'm a now person, like right now. And, I'm definitely fire, aim, ready. I got that thing all mixed up and backwards. I'm just firing. And it drives my team crazy. Like, well, shouldn't we get this, figured out the plan first? And no, let's go. Come on. Right. What are you waiting for? So I just think fast. I act fast. I feel like it's given me an advantage most of the time.
Yeah, and the content you do is great, and it's what it should be. So if anyone wants to see how to do content and how to mix in your life and everything else, check out Eddie all over the place, because he does a lot of great content, a lot of great video. And if I was to ask you one question on what's the best thing an agent can do today to grow their business, what would it be?
I would say sit down in a room by yourself, dark, but enough that you can write on a piece of paper and write down 20 things, 20 answers to one hard question. It's an exercise I do from time to time. So that question might be, I want to make $100,000 this year. I want to make $1 million this year in 2024. And you can't leave that room until you write down 20 answers on how that's going to happen.
I love that.
That's first. And then you take those 20 and identify, what are you going to implement for the year? And that's just one step. But I think the most important thing to do is get a clear schedule written down that you're going to commit to, right? And make sure in your schedule you have lead generating hours in there every single day. You have self-improvement in there every single day. Self-improvement could be scripting, role-playing. It could be reading. It could be, listen to podcasts or Audible but it's all about improving what you do each and every day and lead generating each and every day. So that would be my word to the wise.
I love that, man. I want to thank you so much for coming on. And I always ask the same question at the end of a broadcast. And the question is really simple. What can I do to help you grow your business?
Well, listen, I appreciate you bringing me on the podcast. And obviously, if anybody who watches this can refer me a client because you posted this, that would be amazing.
Great. So we have your contact information to see you on Instagram. It's at Ed Kaminsky. We've got itssold.com and your email address is there as well. And I want to thank you so much for coming on. And as you know, you said the main reason you came on when you saw everybody getting hats is that you had to get your hat.
I need a hat. I'm in Southern California. It's very sunny out there. So
yeah, you're in Southern California, which is sunny California, from what I hear. So we'll be sending this out to you.
Can't wait.
And I want to thank you so much. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we have a local. It's not coming up. Where is it? I lost it. There it is. There it is. We have Pinky Shaw from New Jersey coming on, who's a mortgage strategist and visionary, to talk about how she works with clients, how she builds her business. And that's going to be a great thing to have on. And again, I want to thank you for coming. If you just stay on for a second afterwards, just to finish up, everybody, thank you so much for watching today. Can't wait to see you next week. This is Real Estate Talk, TGIF number 282. Hit it, Nelson.